you're just funny. It's the way you tell the story and everything.
Funny how?
Come here, though. Yeah, he's crazy, see? Who are you?
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Are you ready?
Faster or not a faster, but I'm pretty much just a coffee till 1 p.m. kind of guy.
I like that, dude. Yeah, I'm the same way. I usually do, I'll fast till maybe noon, like I am right now. And then the only thing I'm having is my coffee and then my...
Oh, you're an AG1er. All right.
I'm
Yeah,
an
I've been doing
AG1er.
that for a little while too.
This episode is brought to you by AG1. Click the link in our bio to get a year supply.
If you would have told me, I would have made my own little AG1 drink.
Yeah, dude, I love it. I've always been a big fan of anything functional that I can get some sort of nutrients, whether that's like like mushroom coffee. I'm a big fan of mushroom coffee, right?
We might be the same person.
Are we the same?
I think, and to some extent we are. I'm a mushroom coffee person too.
That's awesome. Yeah, you got a brand that you use in particular? Or?
I did Force-O-Matic for a while. I did some of their stuff, and then there's one called Rise. It's like RYZE.
That's right. I'm actually creating some content for them this weekend.
Oh no shit! That would be something I'd love to do too. Is work with them.
Yeah, I'm a UGC creator on the side, so
nice.
I create a lot of content for some big brands and small brands, but yeah, Rise I reached out to, and they just send me content, and then I just kind of do voiceovers and follow their script and just edit it up and send it to them. Yeah, Rise is one.
Can I ask you a couple questions about that?
Oh yeah, quick? No shoot.
So how do you do you just build a portfolio so slowly and then you kind of send it out, or like how did you get started with that? Because that's kind of the trajectory I would like to go.
Oh really? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of a part-time deal right now because I do a lot of social media and stuff, but nice. I'd love to work with brands that I use because I love their products and I think I could do a good job.
Yeah, fuck yeah. I mean, if you do use a lot of brands and stuff like that too, the easiest thing, what I did was I just went around my house of things that I have that I use, and I just created testimonials and videos, and then I would send that to the brand, and I would say, smart. Hey, listen, I'm a UGC creator. I've worked with brands all over the country for half a decade, whatever. I didn't, and and then I would say, here's the first. I always give my clients the first videos on the house. I could do XYZ voiceovers, videos, photography, whatever you guys want. Just let me know what your brand's needs are, and I could send you some rates. And I did that, in the course of a year. I did that to 100 brands, and I don't know, 15 of them reached out to me. But out of those other 80-something brands, they end up using the content or posting on their stories and tagging me.
Oh, wow.
So then I ended up just screenshotting that. I'll throw that in my portfolio and say I worked with those brands. And
Smart.
That's how I kind of built a portfolio.
Awesome.
So
thanks for sharing that with me, because that's kind of, I didn't know how to get started at all.
Yeah, fuck yeah. And then even if you want, I don't know if you looked at my website, but I could send you my actual portfolio, and then it'll give you.
If it's on your website, I'll just check it out.
Yeah.
There. Okay. Cool.
Or I'll even. I'm sure you use Canva.
Yeah.
I'll just send you the link that I use, and then it'll give you a template portfolio, and then you could just plug in your name and stuff.
Oh wow, that would be awesome, dude. Thanks.
Yeah, dude. There's enough brands to go around for everybody, for sure.
Yeah. It'd be kind of cool if we all worked on a couple projects with the same group, kind of thing.
Hell yeah.
That'd be kind of fun.
And then even if it comes down to it where you have some brands and you can't handle. I like working with a lot of different content creators, because if there's certain brands that I can't use, or maybe I don't have time to edit it, I send it to them and I just split it with them. So,
That's awesome.
Even if there's something down the road that, you need help with, or vice versa, I mean, it's always good to have some people to help you with.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're we're recording, by the way. We're getting into it.
Yeah, cool, man. Whatever you want to do. It's your podcast.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, I usually don't, I don't know. I don't like intros. I don't. Yeah,
if it feels too formal, I get tense.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you got a podcast yourself? Yeah?
Yeah. Part-time creator podcast.
Nice. Yeah, because I first originally saw you on TikTok, and content's great, especially I noticed you're doing a lot more authentic stuff now.
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is
No,
where it's
totally.
at.
That's, yeah, I kind of naturally gravitate towards that. It's kind of like if I can't figure out what kind of content I should make, I'm like, oh, let's just go into like the more like helping people understand how to be their authentic selves. Cause it's something that I've developed a lot over the years. And then I dive into some like deeper topics, like, you know, what gear I use. Like there's a lot of things I want to do. The problem is that being part-time is it's like,
Yeah.
you know, so that's why I'm trying to focus on the money aspect of stuff right now. Like I didn't want to be the dude who's like, oh, I got to monetize, but like if I want to take this seriously and I want to do this full time, I got to get something under me in terms of financial support, and then that way I can really, you know, dive deep.
Yeah, that was my biggest struggle. I mean, I went from years working corporate America and, you know, making six figures and 401k and health benefits and all that. And then, you know, we got into real estate a while ago, and we were able to be fortunate enough to rent some houses and sell some property and get some good capital underneath us. And then I ended up getting laid off due to the pandemic. And I was like, you know, now's my chance, you know, because I know if I get another job, I mean, I'm 37. So if I get another job, I'm going to be there till I'm 55. I'm not going to be able to do this stuff. No one wants to listen to a 60-year-old podcaster unless you're Joe Rogan. So it's like, now's the time that I need to like really buckle down and do this. And I've owned companies before, and I was like, fuck it, I'm going to start my content business. I might lose money for the first year, but I need to get into this and do it. So I'm realizing that the UGC stuff is good. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of hustling, a lot of DMing, a lot of emailing. You know, for the time that you spend doing it, it's beneficial. Like I got paid just today. I did a 10-second video. I got paid $70. No editing, no
Pretty
captions, no nothing.
Right.
But that doesn't happen all the time, obviously. You know, some videos are $100 and it takes 3 hours to edit everything, and it's not guaranteed. You know, is it worth it to do that type of stuff, even though you can make your own schedule and all that? So you're not going to make six figures doing it because you're always hustling. Right. So I'm kind of transitioning more the opposite way, where I'm still going to do a lot of content creation and UGC stuff, but I'm going to do more like podcast coaching, consulting, because I've been doing that for a while just on the side, because I've hosted a podcast for so long, and a lot of people reach out to me. They're like, hey, what type of gear do you use? And do you have time to help me with hosting? And I decided a while ago, I'm like, yeah, I can, but to do everything, it's like $300 an episode. Here's what is included, yada, yada. So I'm doing a lot more of that.
Nice.
And I'm like, oh, if I could just like help out 2 podcasters a month, that's 6 figures a year.
Right. Yeah.
You know, as long as they're putting out episodes, of course.
Right.
So
consistent,
I'm like,
and they're,
yeah. And then you trinkle in the UGC stuff. Okay, now we're talking. And it's kind of up the alley of like, I could see myself podcasting for 15 more years.
Right. Yeah. It's way more sustainable. Yeah. Especially if you love doing it.
Yeah. Because the UGC stuff is cool. But again, most of the demo, especially now with a lot of products like AG1, like their demo is 18 to 30.
Right.
I don't look 37, so I'm fortunate in that aspect. But
yeah, when you said that, I was surprised.
yeah, but it's not going to be like that forever. I would imagine that I got another 2 years, and then I'm going to start like getting the.
Maybe that should be your angle. Be like, hey, I drink this. I'm 37, but I
Ooh.
look 30.
Ooh, that's great.
Yeah, there you go.
This is really turning into an AG1 ad, and I think I'm going to clip this and send it to him and be like, listen, so I'm 37. I've been drinking this for about a year, and I feel 25. Try AG1. You won't regret it. Ding.
Oh, sorry. That was my cue. I should have put the ding in.
It's okay. We'll just do what everyone enjoy that? Yeah? Okay. Great. Yeah, dude. So it's interesting to own your own content business, especially nowadays, but I feel like everything is going that way now.
Oh, totally.
Right? Because I mean, a lot of corporate companies that I worked for prior to, they were spending more money on their social media and content budget than they were their actual marketing budget, like with athletes. Like I used to work for Monster Energy a while ago, and they spent more of their money on digital content and even podcasting than they do like athletes, because they know that they could do all these avenues, social media and all that, but if they have a strong social media and they implement athletes and all that, that's going to help their social media either way. It's not like they're doing that to help the athlete.
Right.
It's always coming back to the social media aspect, and they want to grow social media and gain attention, and that's where the world I think is going to be for quite some time.
Yeah, I totally agree. In fact, as a video editor, that's one of the things I'm trying to convince a lot of my clients. It's like, you got to put some dollars into just content creation and get a team, and I can help you build it and that kind of stuff. And that might be one avenue of revenue that I want to build, is sort of doing some consultations with businesses, especially in my area, that just don't know about this stuff, but I could teach them the power of it. Because you're right. I mean, it's a huge marketing asset that if you do it right, and even if you just get started and you build and scale as you go, it's way more worth the money than just trying to like, oh, let's do the traditional thing of getting some kind of spokesperson and pay them, hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of whatever amount of time.
Especially now, it's so interesting how we really, in the course of a year, maybe 2 years, the consumer now gives zero shits about influencers.
Yeah.
Like legit influence, the Kim Kardashians and the big celebrities. Like Jennifer Aniston has a protein line. Okay, great. No one cares. But if a Joe Schmo was like walking around outside and he's like, hey, I use this Vital Proteins and it's great, we click that link and we buy that product now because of that, not because Jennifer Aniston. It's crazy how we switch so quickly. And I think TikTok was the defibrillator for all that.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah,
And I think too, we're not only so tired of being sold to, but we don't believe anyone that doesn't look like us anymore. Like we used to buy ads from people or from companies because we like their products, but now that we're seeing like our quote unquote friends or people that could very easily be our friends on social media selling stuff, there's a level of trust there's less of a barrier of entry. Like I've bought stuff from people on TikTok who I've followed for 1 or 2 years because I'm like, they're not going to lie to me. They have nothing to gain by lying to me. They're not given a script. Maybe they are given a script, but the whole point is it's so much more digestible. And so it's really been a powerful movement. And I think that's what got me interested in going, you know what, I could do this. Cause before I was like, I don't know if the money's there. Like, I don't know if like, I want to dive into this if there's not a lot of, capital to gain, at least from like a full-time perspective.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, especially with, to your point about just normal people, like our friends. I think we've been drawn to celebrities, right? Because we want to be them. And we see the success, and we want to make millions of dollars, and we want to have millions of followers, and we want to be on TV, and all of us at some aspect like wanted to be an actor or some type of, we like being in the spotlight, whether we admit it or not. Some of us are more introvert, but more often than not, we like to be the person in the group that everyone's like, Shane, he's a good time when we go partying. When we go out, Shane's the head of the party. Like we like that little sprinkle of ego, right? And I feel like we eventually we're at the point now, especially with TikTok, is we see those people and we're like, it's kind of cool that person doesn't have the ego. They're just talking to me like a normal person, and we're not really drawn so much to that celebrity as much as we were 5 years ago or 10 years ago, where we put them on such a high pedestal. And I think we're just getting more smarter, right? We're understanding about products and consumerism and capitalism and the economy and where it's at. And we know that if we even do help out that creator or that person and we buy that brand, it's going to help that person in some aspect,
Do you think it's also a factor that the way we consume entertainment is now much more it's on social media. Like TikTok we used to get like Netflix, network TV, movies, and I still enjoy that stuff. But if I was to look at how much time I spend on TikTok versus how much time I spend on a streaming service, it's not even close. Do you think it's just continued exposure to people
that type of content?
Yeah, that type of content is also kind of making it easier for us to go, yeah, I'd totally buy from, that guy or that girl.
Yeah, good point. For sure. I think that's exactly what it is. It's very similar to like reality TV, right? Like back in the day, what started it? Road Rules and, all
Real
those
World of Vegas or whatever.
Right. The Real World. Like all that was great. And the next thing you know, we're in that trend. And then everyone's watching it. And then now you get like the Kardashians, and then you get Desperate Housewives, and you get all these reality TV shows. And we're consuming all these TV shows constantly. And it's almost like the ratings were so good that every company wanted to do it. And that's kind of what happened with TikTok, I think, is everyone was like on the app and then everyone's talking about it. Next thing you know, one person gets on it. And I think if you add that, parallel to that, you have TikTok's unique algorithm that is only giving you things that you enjoy watching. So there's not a whole lot of stupid stuff. I mean, well, stupid. It's a lot of stupid stuff.
It's a relative term, but I know what you mean.
but there's not stuff that you find stupid yourself. Like your For You
Right.
page is for you. And Instagram wasn't like that. Instagram was like, ad, I don't want to see Johnny and his fucking, haircut. Like, I don't want that. But now you get on this thing called TikTok and you're like, everything is exactly what I want. Like, what? And it's wild, man.
What's weird to me is that I never really understood like the Instagram algorithm. Like before now, I really never got into like how algorithms work. I assumed that every social media platform was showing you stuff that you wanted to see. And it wasn't until I got to TikTok that I'm like, oh, now if I go over to Instagram, this is a bunch of stuff I don't care about. Like these are my friends, these are my followers, but like it's not necessarily relative to what I want to see. And it's now looking back with, at a 1,000-foot view, it's like, how did other social media networks not care about that? And I think a lot of it has to do with, well, the ad revenue was determining what they were showing people, right? Who was spending ads and how they make money. And I think what TikTok realized is if we can get people really interested in using this app, we'll beat all the other apps. And then we can start monetizing after that because we'll have all the attention. So we don't have to worry about people coming here and wanting to advertise. And I'm not saying that's how it works, but it sure seems that they were like, you know what, let's put the consumer first, the way it kind of should be.
Dude, nailed it. Yeah, I think they definitely were playing the long game.
Yeah.
And they won for sure. I mean, you look at like where did you see that article? I posted a TikTok about it, but there was an article that came out saying that Google now just got surpassed by TikTok for the #1 search engine. Like, bro, that's a big deal.
That's what they had, like a 15-year reign, right? Like it was insane. Nothing has ever competed with them like that.
Yeah. And there's been, like other companies, like Ask Jeeves and Bing and fucking Yahoo. And there's been competitors, like big competitors, multi-million-dollar competitors. Like Yahoo wasn't a small company. Couldn't compare to Google. And, what's even more fascinating that a lot of people don't realize is because Google owns YouTube. That's how you get your information, at least I do, is YouTube.
Yeah.
Like if you want to know how to change your fucking faucet, you're not going to Google it. You're going to go straight to YouTube because some 50-year-old dad made a video about it. And,
right.
And you found it and you put your phone on top of the counter and you horizontal that shit and you watched it. And you were amazed and you changed that faucet and you were good. But now it's like when you look at kids that are searching everything from music to podcasts to how-to videos, foods to eat, what to cook, trending sounds. They are doing everything on TikTok and searching it. And if you're, below the age of 25, that's your search engine now.
Yeah, that's their Google. It's what my Google was. I mean, my search engine was Google. TikTok's their Google now. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I found a lot of companies were fighting it at first, but I'm starting to understand that TikTok's here to stay for quite some time. And unless they get acquired by a big company, which I don't think they will, I think a lot of companies are going to start adapting it. And what's more fascinating to me that I think TikTok has a leg up on is now they're starting to buy ECAMM stores and ECAMM warehouses. You heard about that?
Yeah, a little bit.
So they're literally going to become the Amazon for creators. And because the creator economy is like, it's just a perfect time because the creator economy is just booming. TikTok is booming. Sales are up. E-com is up. Everything's up except physical retail stores. So now you look at like TikTok's cranking on the creator economy. Once they figure out how to do drop shipping and things like that, I think that's going to be huge because if I'm a creator or podcaster, and let's say we're talking about AG1, right? And I'm a creator and I'm talking about it, and then you can click the link below on TikTok and TikTok ships it from TikTok warehouse right to your door, gives me a commission as the creator. I just surpassed my website, So why would I have a Squarespace or a Wix website, right? And then
Right.
why would I have an Amazon storefront? Why would I have an Amazon link? Why would I be affiliated with any other brand except TikTok if TikTok's going to give me the commission and deal with shipping? So now you're cutting out all these middlemen. So hopefully if TikTok does it smart, they'll pay the creator more. And now they're handling everything. And I think we're underestimating TikTok's potential, not just from the e-com side, but from everything. You know, they're going to, if they can really figure out video and figure out how to pay creators, I think they'll beat out YouTube in 5 years. And I think they got a lot of potential. So
I think that's part of the reason why TikTok isn't in a rush to try to compete with what YouTube is putting out for creators. Because as you know, YouTube is like, hey, we're trying to get some of what's going on with shorts. We're actually changing all of the stuff that we're doing. And I think TikTok's looking back and going, yeah, but we're building what you just said. We're building warehouses. We're going to make creators way more money because we're going to cut out all the middleman and make them essentially spokespersons for things that they love. And what do you think the numbers are going to look like when somebody is buying something from somebody they trust, right? And an ad from somebody they trust, or some sort of vote of confidence. I mean, the numbers are going to go through the roof, as opposed to just we see what companies are trying to do with their ads on TikTok. They don't look native. They look like ads, and people are just swiping. Like, I don't think I've ever stopped on an ad in the last 6 months that looked like an ad, but I've been tricked into watching an ad because it looks like, you know, my next door neighbor made it, or a friend of mine. And I'm like, not even mad that I just watched 50 seconds of an ad, because it's like, oh, that felt fine. It didn't feel like I was being, you know, bamboozled. There have been plenty of times when the little ad button pops up and I'm like, holy crap, I had no idea it was an ad.
yeah, and you don't really know until you like read the description. There's, you know, a small thing that says sponsored, and you're like, oh fuck, that's an ad. And I think that's the power of UGC. It doesn't feel like an ad, and you know, it's native to like your likes and what you enjoy and things like that. And yeah, like you said earlier, I mean, it's something that we trust, and we trust people now. It's kind of funny because we're talking through all this stuff and we're like, well, this is great. It makes a lot of sense. We're trusting people. We're doing all that. But then we don't realize that we're probably spending money more now than we were 2 years ago. And it makes me think, like, down the road, you know, what is that going to look like from a consumer standpoint? Because, you know, with inflation and everything going up, are we going to be spending more money? Or is the creator economy going to maybe, you know, top out next year and then it's going to dip a little bit? Like, are consumers getting smarter? Are we going to start to realize, like we did with influencers, where you see that ad of like the dude on top of the waterfall and he's got like his cologne and he's like taking a picture, and you could tell he edited it on Lightroom and he spent a lot of time on it. And then he's like, you know, hashtag ad, use code, you know, Tony at checkout. We realized it was an ad, and then we stopped buying that shit. We're like, dude, you're being an influencer. Like, is this going to be what UGC is in a year? Like, how long is it going to last? That's what I'm really curious about, is how much longer can we keep this up? Because now I look for it. Now I'm conscious of it because I'm a creator, obviously. So like when I see someone that is using something on Amazon and they're like, oh my God, TikTok made me buy this. I looked at Amazon and I got this, and I'm like, wait for it. And then at the end, it's like, check the link in my bio. And I'm like, you bitch.
You got me.
You got me. I'm going to do it.
Right.
You got me. So I don't know, dude. I don't know if we're going to get smarter or if we're going to just keep, you know, digging this. Like, what do you think?
I think that because the creator economy is going to only get more competitive, that there is constantly going to be a bar that is raised, and there are constantly people that are going to try to outperform the others. And those that have, but this is where I think it's interesting. So with influencers, we saw the bar keep going up and up and up, and then it crashed because people are just getting tired of it. I think what'll happen now, because there's such a movement towards authenticity and relatability, that we're going to see that competitive ceiling get higher and higher and higher. But there's also going to be people that are going to be, maybe they don't have the sharpest image, or maybe they don't have like everything perfect, but there's going to be a lot more people that are willing to buy from this person than this person. So it's going to be a different playing field. I still think that there's stuff, you know, there's still people up here that are going to make sales, but there's going to be far more people that are here that are also going to make sales. What's interesting to me, and what I can't wait to see, is what that looks like, you know, how that ceiling gets raised, but at the same time, how people are just like, no, we saw this already. Like you said, we saw this already I'm going to buy from, this guy down here, not only because I want to support, a creator, but also because there's a different connection there. There's more connection as opposed to just being sold something.
Yeah, and I think it's going to open up a lot of avenues for subscription model type businesses to where I look at, I'm part of a lot of subscriptions with different brands and companies and stuff like AG1. And, I've used Force-O-Matic and stuff before where, it was every month I'm getting, whatever, mushroom coffee, right? I like the subscription model from a brand perspective. And I think we're going to see more of subscription models with creators. Because like you alluded to earlier when we first started, that you're watching less and less Netflix. And I'm watching more and more TikTok. So like, for example, I think it would be interesting in like 5 years from now, not only can you see my podcast publicly for free on all these different apps and platforms, but maybe there's a subscription service where you get like a monthly kit from me. Like if you're into health, wellness, and things like that, maybe every month I send you some of the products via TikTok that I use constantly. And every month you're getting that along with extra content and extra things that I put out, whether that's an extra podcast or, some advice or something like that. But I could see consumers subscribing more to creators, because if we're watching these folks on TikTok more than we are Netflix, and I'm paying $10, $20 for Netflix, but then in a few years I'm realizing I'm not watching Netflix anymore. So let me take that money and reallocate it to paying these creators, because at least I'm getting something out of this creator every single time I watch them. We're going to focus more on paying with creators and paying for creators and their type of
I
avenue.
think the younger demographics, I think that's already where they see it going. Like you sort of just brought that idea up to me, and I've heard like little whispers of what that might look like, but that makes a lot of sense because, like, for instance, taking health, you have a box every month that you're like, these are the products that I'm currently using. If you want to be 37 but look like you're 25, here's my box, right?
Yeah.
Here's my box of stuff that can help you with these things. And even if it is a little bit, I won't say clickbaity, but even if it is a little far-fetched, the idea is that you're using these products, people like you for who you are. And it's like, why wouldn't I buy that? And you're right. I think people are going to go like I've even started doing this. I had an Audible subscription and I was listening to a lot of books, but then I stopped and I was like, I want to reallocate that money to supporting. Like I have a buddy of mine who has a podcast and he has like a Patreon, and you can get, special stuff with a Patreon. And I just started doing that kind of naturally because one, I want to support my friends. Two, I'm a creator. So I understand that what it's like to, go through that avenue. And three, I'm not watching Netflix. Like I don't care that, Molly and Me or whatever is on Netflix this month. Like it's not how I spend my time. So I don't want to spend my money in that avenue either.
Exactly. Younger generations are getting more conscious of what they're spending money on, and they want to protect the earth and the environment, and they want to take care of their health a little bit more. So I think they're getting more intelligent when it comes to all this type of stuff, to where we're realizing that we don't need all the materialistic stuff. We don't need the Lamborghinis and the big houses and all that. So I think they're going to have more money down the road. And that's, if you look at the numbers, I mean, I read an article, I think it was Inc.com, and I was reading something where they were talking about how there's going to be more millionaires from the creator economy than there ever has been in the last 20 years. So like 20 years from now, there's going to be more millionaires than there ever has been, like the Bill Gates, the Elon Musk, all those guys. Obviously, they started off small and became millionaires, and then now they're billionaires and some of the richest guys on the planet. But we're on track, the creator economy, to make these millions. I mean, Mr. Beast is a great example, probably the best example, to where he'll probably be the first billionaire on YouTube, and he's only been doing this for 10 years.
Right.
So if you look at like an Elon Musk or Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, how long did it take them to become a billionaire?
Right.
Decades.
Yeah.
And it's super fascinating that the idea that Mr. Beast not only is not the only one by any means, but the fact that you can do this by creating videos. You're not hiring thousands and thousands of people like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and all these folks did. Like you're just creating videos and then you're building a brand. And now you look at Mr. Beast, and he's got Feastables, he's got Beast Burgers, he's got all these different brands that he's creating different revenue streams, and he's doing that with putting out videos. Like it's crazy that can happen.
It's really insane that like in a good way, that this guy has built, the YouTube channel that he's built, and he's just done it. If you listen to what I love about his podcast episodes is that he's like, look, you guys are asking me the same questions over and over, and I'm telling you the same answers. Like, stop asking the questions, go do the stuff, and I love that because he's so real about it. But you're right. He's built the brand. The brand is recognizable across the world. Now he's building businesses around that brand, and they're doing exceptional numbers. Like, it's insane, but it all comes down to the fact that people know the brand before they know the business. And that is something that not a lot of businesses benefit from, because they build a business and it takes them like 5 years at least to really build some sort of awareness around what they're doing, if they're doing it right. He did the brand first, and he did it, like you said, making videos and making that connection through media.
Yeah. People, when he first launched that first burger joint, I want to say it was in Vegas, maybe was the first one. And everyone was going there not because they wanted to try the best burger in the world. Like, no one knew it was going to be good or not. And who knows, it's probably not the best burger. But people buy the burger because it's Mr. Beast,
Right.
And then you look at like, okay, so what's another good example of that in the burger industry? Okay, who did it? Mark Wahlberg. One of the most popular actors on God's green earth did not pull any numbers close to Mr. Beast, a YouTuber, when he first opened up Wahlburgers. So you look at Mark Wahlberg, people aren't as big of fans as Mark Wahlberg as they are Mr. Beast. And that is staggering. The fact that a YouTuber can have more business because of his likes and fans that just go and buy it. It's unfathomable.
Thinking about that, I think that if you had to boil it down to one reason why that happened, is because actors play roles of different people. They don't play themselves. Mr. Beast is always playing himself. So you're connecting with Mr. Beast because he's not trying to be someone else. He's not acting a role. He doesn't have a script. He's himself, and he makes you feel like he's your friend, or he's like somebody that you could relate to. Whereas Mark Wahlberg we don't really know who Mark Wahlberg is. I mean, he's done some branding for himself, but in a lot of ways, we know Mark Wahlberg in The Shooter. We know Mark Wahlberg in Transformers. We don't know Mark Wahlberg. It's kind of an interesting.
Wow.
And that's why I think this whole authenticity thing is making such a difference, is because people are being able to connect with real people, and they're learning stuff about them the same way you would learn about someone in, your friend group.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, because we don't know these people. I mean, aside from social media and what they put out, which who knows if that's real or not. I think, because I follow Mark Wahlberg, and the only thing he puts out is like his company Municipal. It's only like, oh, we're launching a new golf shirt today. Like, it's never like him just shooting the shit and doing things. Versus like if you watch a Mr. Beast or you watch these folks, they're just like, I love Mr. Beast on Twitter. It's so funny because he'll just tweet out things like, go buy chocolates.
Yeah.
And
did you see that video that
Which
his
video?
manager put out?
Uh-uh.
He said he makes 5 times as much money tweeting "go buy this chocolate" than he does from his YouTube channel. His YouTube channel is number 2, and then like I forget what the other rank, but he says he sells more money just tweeting than anything else he does. Yeah, if I find it's in my watch history, I'll send it to you.
Yeah. Shoot it to me. That is, I mean, I believe it, but that's insane.
Yeah,
and that just goes to show that if you can build a community of people, and those people trust you, like you said, and Mr. Beast will never put out like a subscription, I don't think, but I guarantee if he ever did, like $1 a month, and you'll get one Feastable bar a month, right?
Yeah,
he will get
totally.
every single fan to pay $1 a month. Every single fan will do it. $5 a month, $10 a month. He could have different tiers, and he could do it, and people could build it. So if you look at something like that versus like, I don't know, a celebrity doing it, aside from The Rock, there's not one person in the world that I would do a subscription thing to. Like even Joe Rogan, and I love his podcast. Of course, he's the GOAT. But I don't know if he went to automatic platform. I don't know if I would pay a subscription for that podcast, just because I don't consume all of his podcasts because they are long. So I feel like I wouldn't get, enough to make it worth it. Because there is a lot of podcasts, like he's one of them where I'll watch on TV. Like I'll mirror my phone and I'll put it on TV and I'll watch a few episodes in the background. But I've watched videos just yesterday. I watched a couple videos and clips of a bunch of different podcasts and fellow creators on my TV, from mirroring my phone.
Yeah.
And I'll consume that content. So I could see it down the road to where there's a lot of podcasters and a lot of celebrities that are doing these subscriptions where, instead of a Netflix or a streaming service, I would do that.
Yeah, it's actually with the contrast to how younger creators are making their money to how older actors and celebrities are making their money. You're 100% right. Like we said with Mark Wahlberg, he's like, oh, here, go buy my shirt. Why would I go buy your shirt, Mark Wahlberg?
Yeah.
Like what sort of fabric makes it better? Whereas a creator could tell me like, the reason I use this is because it's the only polo I can wear that doesn't show sweat stains. Oh, brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But so people want to not only know why it's better, but they also want to buy from people that are going to be honest with them. I don't trust that Mark Wahlberg's not just trying to sell me. I also don't trust that he came up with like what he was going to say on his own, like he's being scripted. It just feels fake. And like we were talking about earlier, Instagram made that so apparent to all of us because everyone was just photoshopping everything.
Yeah, I know. So crazy. Again, I mean, I hate bringing up The Rock because I love him, but he's the only guy that I'll probably buy things and try out because he says it, aside from Joe Rogan. But like in terms of like someone on Instagram that has I don't even know what he has. I think he has the most followers for a man on Instagram, The Rock does. And because I think Kardashian's the most popular woman. But his stuff, everything comes out. Energy drink, tequila, fucking Project Rock gear. Like I got it all. And I'm not disappointed with any of it. Like I trust his judgment on a lot of stuff. His movies, not so much. But I trust, who cares? But it's entertaining. At least you know what you're getting with The Rock. Like he's going to destroy some shit. Like I'm cool with it. Like people that go in and say, The Rock didn't perform. Like it's not his best acting role. I go, oh really? It's not his best acting role?
Yeah, I don't think he's aiming for that.
Yeah, no shit. He wants to blow shit up. Like, yeah, Hobbs and Shaw. Like what, he's going to win an Oscar for that? I get it. So... But The Rock, dude, like he's really good at creating that community like a creator does. He's the closest to me that a celebrity can get to a creator, because if you're smart, you're going to follow that same template, right? Where if you notice, he's very strategic with this, and I'm sure he has a team of people, but I followed him for a long time and I buy a lot of his stuff and I listen to every single one of his videos. He's really good at the tease. And this is what creators, if you want to be a really good UGC creator, podcaster, this to me would be the advice that I give to people is, and Gary Vee talks a lot about this too, is never ask for anything. Do what you do best, do what you love, and then everything else will happen. And The Rock's really good at, like, if he has a new line of Project Rock stuff coming out, he'll wear the t-shirt and he'll work out with it for a few days. Won't say anything about it. He'll just work out with it for a few days. That's it. And then he'll do like a selfie and he'll talk about, hey, by the way, new Project Rock dropping this Thursday, 10 a.m., look out. And that's it. And you're like, wait, hold on. What Project Rock? Wait, was he wearing that? And then people are going to scroll and they're going to look back. And the next thing you know, people are going to buy the Project Rock stuff. So it's one of those slow teases where you go into it where you don't really talk about it. You just want to be about it, versus like a Mark Wahlberg. Every post is municipal. Here's the new shoes with the polos. Check it out. Hashtag municipal partner. So there is a difference. And I think if we're smart enough to where we can look at those and identify that, like, they're still asking for it, but at least he really does back it up. And I think he's very sincere when, he talks about wanting to promote stuff.
I like that a lot too. Like it's basically like product placement, not necessarily, it's showing, not telling.
Right.
I think people identify with that a lot, whether it's a t-shirt or it's a hat, or there was someone the other day that was wearing their branded hat and they wear it all the time. And it makes total sense that they would wear their own brand's hat, but it's also advertising something new or whatever it is, their brand. And so it's, brand placement. And I think that is how we are going to be okay with consuming, people's stuff, their merch, whatever it might be.
Yeah, exactly. Peter McKinnon's another good example for like a creator that just, he'll wear his stuff for a while and then eventually, like halfway through the video, he'll be like, oh, by the way, I did this team up with.
It might be him that I saw a video on, because I was like,
with a hat. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's always wearing hats. That's
always.
Probably what it was.
Yeah. No, he's great too. You know what I like most about, we're talking a lot about creator and all that. You buy these products, you support these products, and you have to think to yourself, well, what are we getting out of it? And as I've gotten more not only the podcast space, but just becoming a content creator these last few years and working with a lot of other creators, and the one distinction that I've realized from a creator versus like having a job is, as a creator, yeah, you're looking to make money and you want to make a paycheck for sure. But usually it's never one-sided as a creator. It's always getting value to the consumer. So like, yeah, you might, like I sell this shirt actually on my website just because I'm a big pizza fan. And then on the back of it says, "Take me to your pizza." So, but I don't even really promote this. I just wear it because I'm like, if I'm going to spend $10 on a shirt, it's going to be my own shirt.
Yeah. Heck
So,
yeah.
you know, like I'm not going to go buy a Nike shirt for $25. Like Nike's not paying me. But usually, like if you bought this shirt from my website, go to my shop, check it out. But if you bought this shirt from my website, I'm going to give you a good podcast. So that's what you're getting. Yeah, you're picking up a shirt from me, but you're getting a good podcast. I'm not asking for a subscription fee. You're picking up product and I'm going to give you something in return. That's usually how creators are. You know, we talk about Mr. Beast. We talk about Peter McKinnon. Like Peter McKinnon will walk you through how to edit a photo in 2 minutes, and he does it beautifully, and it's very entertaining, and he makes great content. So he runs a YouTube that doesn't cost you anything. It's free to watch his content. But if you pick up a hat of his or a fucking shirt or whatever he's got, you're supporting him. And that's what's kind of cool about it, is that's what's different between the creator economy and buying something from The Rock or a celebrity, is you're not really getting value. Right? Like you're watching Netflix and you're paying fucking $20 a month. But you're consuming shit that's going to go in one ear and out the other. Like there's no value to it. At least when you're consuming creators' content, you're getting something out of it. And that's what's beautiful about this whole economy.
That's a great point. You know, I hadn't really thought of it like that. You know, when you consume a Netflix episode, there's nothing you carry with you after that. There's no like growth. There's no thought process. But you're right, with creators, if you're interested in how to use a DSLR camera and you go and watch somebody's video on it, you're getting instant value from that, you know, provided they do a good job and all that. Yeah, it's sort of this reciprocity that at one point, if that person builds enough of a relationship from just their videos, you almost feel like, not that I have to pay this person, but I'm less likely to be guarded with my money. And you don't get that from Netflix.
Yeah. And I think that's the reason why colleges and universities, like they're having less and less attendees every year. You know, I've learned more on YouTube in the past 10 years than I have for school. You know, I dropped out of college, but you can learn so much in school now. I mean, there's even classes that you can learn. I forget who it is, but he's got millions of subscribers. I think it's like At Home Dad or something, or Do It Yourself Dad. Have you heard of this dude?
No.
If you look up million subscribers on YouTube Dad, he'll pop up, whatever his name is. So sorry, I can't give you a shout out, dude, but he does all these little things like changing a tire, you know, fixing a leaky faucet, all these things that your dad would teach you. Right. And he started this YouTube like 5-6 years ago, and he makes millions of dollars a year. And all he's doing is just showing you how to make stuff, how to be a dad, how to do things around the house, how to do manly things. It's fascinating because as like a young man, I was lucky enough to have 2 parents, but there's a lot of folks out there that only have 1 parent or no parents. And when you can go on YouTube and watch this guy be showing you kind of things that your dad would have showed you, things that are useful in life, you know, real estate advice and, you know, common sense advice, like that shit they don't teach you in college. They teach you trigonometry that you're never going to use. You know, they teach you stuff that is not beneficial to your everyday life. And this guy has made millions of dollars doing it. And that's what's so interesting and sexy and beautiful about, you know, the world that we're living in now, where we can get educated on the internet. And a lot of people think it's stupid, but every single person, when you say how to, it's always on a keyboard. How to do this. And you learn that shit that way. It's not what you learned in middle school and you're applying your middle school and your high school and your college experience to that. It's always something on the internet, and we're learning more and more information. And it's fascinating that we could just learn everything on there now.
I think I might have heard of this guy if it's the same person, and his story is really amazing too because he was thinking about all of those, like you had mentioned, all those people out there that don't have a dad to show them those things, don't have a dad to come over and help them with their, yard or whatever it might be.
Mhm.
And that is such an inspiring story because it's like not only are there tons of people like that, but he found a need and he's meeting it and he's being generous with his time and creating value. Then
Yeah.
that's really amazing. And that would have, like you said, that would have not happened if we just had universities teaching us everything.
Yeah. And by the way, universities charge you.
Right. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they charge you. You're a lifetime debtor
Yeah.
with a college education. I dropped out as well, and I don't know what your story is specifically on that, but I just realized like if I wanted to major in nutrition,
Mm.
and I just said, you know what, I'm learning so much online, and the part that the thing that kind of went off in my head is what I was learning online was working, but it was so different than what I was learning in college. And then I dug
Mm.
deep into that and I realized how much of government and companies have an influence on what's taught in schools, like from a young age to a college age. And I'm like, so I'm paying for an education that's being sold or bought, I guess, depending on how you look at it, from someone who has an invested interest in, how I eat. That I'm not cool with that.
Yeah.
That's not freedom of information. That's I'm being sold information. So that's when I was like, you know what? I'm dropping out. Like I don't care if my dad's going to be upset. I don't care if my parents are like, "Well, we want you to go to college." And thankfully they're like super supportive. They're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you make a really good point. Like maybe you shouldn't go to college for that particular, So, but yeah, I just said, you know what? If I can learn this online, why the heck would I pay a tuition?
So true. Yeah, that's great. So you went to school for nutrition. So I would imagine you have a background in nutrition, health, wellness. Are you still in that field a little bit?
Yeah, on the side. So I actually went to school to be a nutritionist, and then I realized, like, well, that's just they want me to take a bunch of courses and help
Yeah.
make cafeteria food like for diabetics. I just was like, you know what, that's not the right way.
No.
So I took an alternative route. I went down to San Diego. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Czech Institute, but
Hmm.
I studied under Paul Chek. He's a world-renowned holistic lifestyle coach, and it got a kind of a little weird, to be completely honest. Like it was very like I don't want to say it was a cult, but like we spent the first 2 days of his seminar just like deprogramming ourselves from like thinking a certain way. And I'm all for like open up your mind and like that kind of stuff, but I went there to try to learn how to build a business. I didn't come here to like have my
Drink the
mind
Kool-Aid.
wiped and try
Yeah.
and try to learn new things about different stuff. So
Yeah.
I appreciate the experience, but anyway. And I just I said I'm going to get my personal training certification. I'm going to build a business in fitness. And then, so similar to what happened with you, the pandemic hit, gyms closed down. I got COVID pay, and I just wasn't able to recover from that, from what happened with that. And so I
Mm.
went into a different industry, and now I'm transitioning into trying to find a way to do what I love as a creator and make the kind of money that can support my family. Because I have a 1-year-old daughter now. It's different. It's not like me and my wife eating ramen noodles for 6 months to try to save. It's like we got to feed her. So
Yeah.
it's a different atmosphere and it's a lot to juggle, but it's been so rewarding to make that transition. Partly because I'm doing something I enjoy versus something that I'm just like, oh God, I never want to do that again.
Yeah, dude, that's I'm kind of in the same boat for sure. Yeah, it's funny. We'll have to do a whole separate podcast on like health and wellness because I didn't realize, but we're like almost at an hour already.
Oh wow.
Yeah, time flies.
Yeah,
when
time
you're having fun.
flies. Yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
But yeah, I was a personal trainer prior to this, probably like 15 years ago actually now. And I got out of that field because it's obviously very competitive, but I was getting paid per session. I was a college kid, quote unquote college kid. I was college age. I dropped out though. And I didn't like college because I was like, I can just save money and spend money and party. And there's nothing that they're teaching me that's beneficial. And I'd rather just work. So I got a bunch of jobs, started training people on the side, and I gained some real life experience. And then eventually opened up my own company when I was in my 20s. A few years later, sold that for a little bit of profit. And that's when I started dipping back into corporate America. But I've always been involved in the health and wellness industry. And, working out all the time. I'm newly vegan. I've had some health scares before,
Oh wow.
and it kind of made me start doing an elimination diet to figure out what made the most sense. And turns out eating plant-based works for me, unfortunately, because I do love me some meat. But it is what it is. And I've had these health scares, and I've focused more and more not just on my physical health, but I'm realizing the correlation between what we're eating and our mental health is very fascinating, especially when you look at not just what we're eating, but like we talked about in the beginning, is fasting and the great benefits of that. And then you're like, wait a minute, but our whole lives we're told every 2 hours, right? Every 3 hours you got to eat. And then when you start really diving into the clinical research and the studies behind us, there's so many big companies that are behind the type of food we consume and the education in schools. And like you alluded to earlier, where that's when you're like, hold the fuck on, man. That means no one's taking care of us.
Right.
Not the government, not the president, not anybody. No one's taking, not your spouse. Yeah, it's
all
all
money.
about the money, dude. And
Yep.
when you start diving into the individual research and everything, that's when I really got passionate about starting a podcast kind of about it. So, and we've been talking this entire thing about the creator economy and all that. Well, to me, I look at that as there's 3 pillars in my podcast. It's mental health, physical health, and financial health. And usually that all kind of mixes together with like social interaction. So whether it's social media or how we use our devices, financial health, it's all that is kind of what I love diving into, because I feel like the more education we can have on those 3 topics in particular, mental, physical, and financial health, and we could start talking more about it and be transparent and open about discussing these topics, the younger generation is going to start to realize, which I think they're starting to now, where it's not about what people are telling you. It's about doing your own research, figuring out what's best for you, right? Like
Yeah.
we've been told, get a job, get a 401k, get corporate benefit. Like, yeah, that's all great and it's good for some people, but if you don't want to do that, you're going to spend 30 years of your life miserable. Like, that's bad for your
Yeah.
mental health. And if you're
exactly.
right, and if your mental health is shit, then guess what? Your marriage is going to turn into shit. Your kids are going to raise or be raised in a poor household where it's a family that's getting torn apart and both spouses aren't happy. And the next thing you know, that kid's going to become either a horrible person in society, or they're going to be miserable their whole life. And, if we're really trying to help humanity, it's all about helping yourself and doing the things that you'd like to do. And just the last few years, man, I've become very passionate about that stuff. And I think it all kind of connects and correlates to each other, to where we just got to take care of ourselves and take care of our body.
And I think that's what drew me to your profile when I first saw your videos, is like, this guy has you have a vibe of passion, like whatever you're talking about. Because sometimes I see that you're talking about this and talking about that, but there's always this underlying passion about what you're talking about, because you really want to try to help people understand what's going on. And I honestly think the way my father was raised, in terms of like the whole, go to college, get guaranteed job, all that stuff, was great for, like you said, a certain group of people. But what we don't tend to realize is, or I shouldn't say we, I think people understand this, but what corporations want is they want a very easy system. And if you don't fall in that system, too bad, we'll take care, we'll force feed you other things and make money on you different ways. But you have to carve out your own path. There's probably a stat out there that shows the consistent rise in entrepreneurship, because there are so many more people who are like, I don't want to do that college thing.
Yeah.
Not because I don't think it's a great route for some people, but because it's not great for me. And that's when people are waking up going, oh, I should probably do what's good for me, instead of like being told what to do. And it takes bravery and courage to be able to do that. I remember when I told my dad, I was scared to death, because he went to UCLA, he got an economics degree. Man, I felt like I had to live up to that to a certain extent, but I also just wanted to make him proud. And the fact that I was going a totally different route, and I'm very fortunate that he accepted my, he didn't make it difficult for me to feel good about not wanting to do something that he wanted to do. But not a lot of kids get that, and it's sad.
Yeah, no, it is. And, I'm lucky enough to where I have a lot of support as well. But, you never want to take these type of plunges without having a plan. And that's the key.
Sure.
Is you want to really formulate a plan and be organized. And, that's where I was like, when we first got married, my wife and I almost 7 years ago, we're like, this is our goals. This is what we want to do, but we're going to have to buy some property, rent some property out. We're going to have to work harder. I was working a corporate job and also Ubering on the side just to make some money so I can, buy a second house and rent it out, because I knew if I had two properties, then, that income from the rental would pay for my mortgage in my current house. And then we could save money that way. And then eventually sell. And the next thing you know, fast forward 7 years later, we were able to do that. But 7 years, long time, a lot of stress. And then now I'm comfortable enough to where I can kind of take the plunge. And I think sometimes we do have issues finding that happy median to where it's like, okay, I want to be a content creator, so I'm just going to quit my job. I'm going to walk up to my boss that I make six figures and say, fuck you, I don't want to do this anymore. Hold on. Why don't you spend 6 months faking it till you make it, save money, maybe invest your money somewhere where you can, have some real estate or stocks or CDs or something like that. Invest some money. And then once you kind of turn that money into a little extra money, take that, start doing stuff on the side, kind of like you're doing, Shane. And then when you get comfortable, then you could say, fuck you to your boss. But, don't just jump right into it because Gary Vee told you to. Like, we kind of have to be a little, we have to be a little bit more conscious about things. And that's the type of passion. I appreciate you saying that. That's the type of passion that I like to share on my podcast, and a lot of AG1. But that's just something that I've always had, I think, which is a big reason why I started my podcast, is because I have that passion, and my wife is not that she's not passionate, but she's not as like extroverted, and she doesn't like to talk. Like, if we're in a group with friends, she'll kind of make she'll chime in every now and again. But I'm usually the one that's like, everyone's looking like, who the fuck is this douchebag? Like, that's me. And I'm okay with that because that's just how I am.
Right. It's you.
But yeah, so when I first started, dating my wife, and then we got to know each other, and then we got engaged, I'm like, she's like, all right, you're a lot. And I go, well, but I got a lot to say. And she's like, okay, all right. And I'm like, I should just start a podcast, because no one, if she doesn't want to listen to me, maybe other people will. And then I just grabbed my phone and recorded on my voice memo on my iPhone. And that was episode 1. And then I just posted it on my website. And then I was like, I'm going to keep doing this and keep doing. And now here I am. This is probably like episode 90, or 190 rather. So episode 190 I'm at now. But it all started with me venting because my wife didn't want to hear me talk anymore. So it's we all start somewhere, and then we have to slowly grow.
I'm laughing because that's exactly why I started a podcast.
Is that true? Oh, cool.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I love talking to my wife, and we talk about a lot of different stuff, but I'm a big talker. Like, I'm introverted, but like, if you get me in the right avenue, I could talk about days on certain things. So yeah, I started my podcast because I had all these thoughts, and even before that, I noticed that I was like talking to myself in my car on the way to work about things that I was interested in, because I wanted to get better at speaking. And I don't naturally have I didn't naturally have like kind of this like speaking voice and being able to articulate things. I just didn't come about that naturally. And then I was like, you know what? I should probably just record this. Like, why not? Podcasting's a thing. It's relatively inexpensive to start. Let's do it. So that's what I did. And I remember thinking that exact same thing. Like, my wife's like, could you just, I don't want to talk about that. Okay, cool. I'm going to go make a podcast episode. I'll see you later.
Yeah. That's so great, dude. Yeah, we're the same human for sure. So that's reassuring.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, we definitely will have to do another episode. Boom, we just hit an hour. Hey, congratulations, Shane. You have made it an entire hour.
Wow.
With Tony Berardo. Not a lot of people make it a full hour.
I feel honored. Thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you. Thank you for coming on. We'll definitely have to do a part 2 where maybe we'll dip more into the health and wellness, because I want to get your expertise on a few things on that aspect. But this has been fun, just kind of talking about the creator economy and the growth and TikTok.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude. There's a lot of great nuggets in here. So I'll make sure I clip some stuff up and I'll shoot it to you. So if you want to repurpose it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
One thing I always ask my guests at the end of each episode, it's a session, it's a series, I guess you could say. Not a series. A segment. It would be a segment. It's a segment I like to say, what made you a better human? So Shane, I ask you this. What do you think in the past 12 months, what's one thing that you could tell the audience that have made you a better human?
Being a dad, becoming a dad. Yeah. I think it has just taught me to slow down and enjoy the moment more, and try to be as kind as I possibly can to anyone around me. And I don't know if that all has just come about because I've had to slow down. When you're sleep deprived and you, you're feeding a baby instead of, doing this other thing, you learn how to manage your time, and you just start to realize like the moment is really where the magic is. And I personally have always tried to find the moment, but I don't think I've become a better person. I don't think I would be a better person without having my daughter be born. So
Wow.
yeah, it's been a really powerful experience.
That's beautiful, man. Well, on that note, I think that is just beautiful for the audience to hear. So thank you for sharing that, and very happy. Congrats on the little one turning 1. And yeah, let's definitely do this again, man, for sure. This was fun.
Yeah, I'd love that.
But if you can, give us a shout out to where we could find you, social media, Instagram, your website, your podcast, all that jazz.
Sure. So best place to find me on social media is TikTok. It's at Shane_PTC. And then I have a podcast, the Part-Time Creator Podcast. You can find that on Google Podcasts, Apple, Spotify, and Anchor.fm.
Nice. Very cool. Well, dude, Shane, again, it has been a pleasure getting to know you, man. And I'll shoot you an email on some other stuff we talked about earlier, like my portfolio and the template, so you can start creating your own shit. And
Awesome,
yeah, dude,
man.
we'll do
Thank
this
you so
again.
much. Yeah, I appreciate your time. I know you're a busy guy and you got a lot of stuff going on, so I really do appreciate this.
Hey, for my boy Shane, we do what we got to do, all right?
Are you from New York, by the way?
I am not.
Okay, that was a very good accent.
Thanks. Yeah, my whole dad's side's from Jersey, so so I
My
think
wife grew up in New York, so.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's something deep inside. I don't know where it is, but it's somewhere in my DNA where if I wanted to just turn it on, I think I could turn it on. Yeah. And of course, I watched Sopranos pretty much my entire life, so that helps.
Great show.
Great show. All right, Shane. Well, enjoy your weekend, man. Thanks for the time. We'll stay connected, brother.
All right, absolutely. Have a good weekend.
Oh, hey there. First of all, thanks for making it to the end of this video. Not a lot of people do, according to the YouTube analytics, but I do want to say thanks for listening to this. There's some more episodes if you want to check those out, and they're all just as good. But if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check out those timestamps below to reference some of the topics I talked about, as well as some discount links to some of our sponsors and affiliates. But thanks for listening to this episode, and we'll see you next time.